Lots of reports indicate Zerbi is the first choice lined up if Ten Hag is replaced. We will get into the latest on that. But has Sir Jim Ratcliffe taken matters into his own hands again? We know he contacted Amanda Staveley about getting Dan Ashworth done, and we know Sir Jim Ratcliffe is frustrated with the lack of progress, and he wants Ashworth in. But one thing he wants just as much as Ashworth in is a lot of the Manchester United players out. Ineos' priority is to clear out. And Ratcliffe is reportedly ringing up clubs saying, this player's for sale, this player's for sale, this player's for sale. Please basically buy them. We know he sent Mercer to Saudi Arabia earlier on. We know he's keen to sell. We've also got more updates and news on Tolibo, news on Drewsbury Hall. Will United be making a silly error there? And then Bastian Schweinsteiger came out and did an interview with the Overlap where he spoke about his treatment by Mourinho, and we will talk about that. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. And let's get into the first story. It was said by Fabrizio Romano. Ineos have not made contact with Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate or Nagelsmann for the United job. So they've not made contact with Potter despite interest, not made contact with Southgate, or not made contact with Nagelsmann, even though it's expected Nagelsmann would go to Bayern. One big name missing, Zerbi. These are the three managers we've been linked with the most. Amorim's going to Liverpool, let's be honest. Xabi Alonso's staying put. Zerbi is not been mentioned by Romano. Why? Why is he saying so quiet? Is it because Zerbi's agent's being loud and he doesn't know if Zerbi's been contacted or not? We know Zerbi's agent has been speaking to a few clubs because he's probably going to leave Brighton. Interesting. It was said by Pete Hall that Roberto De Zerbi is on Manchester United's list of potential replacements for Erik ten Hag if they sack the Dutchman, and it was said by Rich Fay that Graham Potter and De Zerbi are understood to be the current frontrunners for the United job should it become available. Ineos also admire Nagelsmann, but he looks poised to return to Bayern Munich. So, again, De Zerbi. Nearly every source is saying De Zerbi someone we want. Romano says we haven't made contact with Potter, Southgate or Nagelsmann. He leaves De Zerbi out. Maybe because he knows nothing on De Zerbi. Maybe because we have made contact with De Zerbi. I'm not sure. Now, what we do know about De Zerbi is he's highly appreciated by Omar Barada. We know that Omar Barada had him lined up as a potential Pep Guardiola replacement should Manchester City need another manager. Talking of Manchester City, a la Madrid. Oh, do you know what? I actually celebrated Real Madrid winning on penalties. But that is a little bit off topic. We also know that Ashworth was aware of De Zerbi, even though Ashworth had left Brighton by the time that De Zerbi was appointed. Obviously, Ashworth was involved in sort of looking at potential replacements if Potter was swooped up as well. We know that De Zerbi has former coaches that are Nice and employed by Ineos. So Ineos, obviously, we know rate him. We know that Ineos are fans of De Zerbi. We know that Ineos want to have this sort of head coach structure and employ a similar structure to those at Brighton in regards to head coaches. So when you look at all of that in mind, it's very obvious that Ineos like De Zerbi, rate him highly. They also do like Graham Potter, and Graham Potter could be picked because he's more affordable. It's an easier deal to do. Or they could maybe stick with Ten Hag. Or De Zerbi goes elsewhere, but De Zerbi's set to leave Brighton. Amorim's going to Liverpool. Nagelsmann's going to Bayern. Tuchel could end up at Barcelona, which maybe leaves United with De Zerbi. But nothing's set in stone. No decision has been made on Erik ten Hag, but more reports are suggesting news about De Zerbi, saying that early suggestions point towards De Zerbi being Ineos' favourite for the position of the Man United manager should they choose to part ways with Ten Hag. It was also said that Tuchel and Conte are also like the United, with both sets to be available in the summer. Brighton manager De Zerbi is also considered. I think with Tuchel, and I think, of course, with Potter, they could be easier to do than De Zerbi because we won't have to pay Brighton a fee to get them in because they will be out and ready to join the club this summer, which is why I think if we don't get De Zerbi, we will go for those two if we choose to sack Ten Hag. And it was said by Spates people, and he said this last week, that Roberto De Zerbi is emerging as an increasingly strong candidate to become the manager of United this summer if they sack Ten Hag, is what's being said. If they sack Ten Hag, I think De Zerbi, Potter and Tuchel, the top three options. Nagelsmann's expected to go to Bayern. And I know that we just don't have interest in Southgate, despite multiple reports. Let me know your thoughts. Oh, I just whacked my finger. Let me know your thoughts down below. Would you rather stick with Ten Hag and give him another season, or bring in De Zerbi? Now, let's get into this story by United People's TV, saying that Barcelona received call from Sir Jim Ratcliffe about cut price deals for 4 Manchester United stars. So, what does the article say? According to Spanish publication Nacional via Football 365, there are 4 players in particular that Ratcliffe wants to get rid of and has already set the wheels in motion to facilitate their departures. Casemiro, we know, Varane, Eriksen, and interestingly, Malacia. Now, he has been out injured all season, so I understand if we want to move him on, but I think it might be difficult to move him on. It was said that it's understood Barcelona have received a call from the Oldenborn billionaire who expressed their desire to part ways with those 4 players. Ratcliffe spoke to Barca chief Deco and gave the Catalan giants the opportunity to sign all of them for a reasonable price. Now, another thing we know is that John Murtough's in Barcelona speaking to them. One thing we know is John Murtough's gone to Saudi Arabia speaking to people. It's very obvious that Man United want to offload players, and it's very obvious that Man United have an idea for they want to offload, but Casemiro, Varane, Eriksen, Malacia, that's going to be one of the more difficult players to offload because of high wages and Malacia not playing for a year. So I think there's probably the 4 that United are really pushing to sell. And if we go into this, we know that there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. While we don't see a lot of the stuff going on, I think Ratcliffe takes Ratcliffe deal into his own hands. Now, I don't know if it's true that Ratcliffe's run them up. I don't know if Ratcliffe's taking deals into his own hands, but Ratcliffe ended up getting involved in the Ashworth deal to try and speed it along. He might be getting involved in other deals to basically hurry up and get some of the players out Manchester United. He wants Casemiro off the wage bill. He wants Varane out, which I personally would keep Varane. He wants Eriksen out. He wants Malacia out. He's now reportedly speaking to clubs saying, this player's up for sale, that player's up for sale. Murtough had to go to Portugal, Italy, Spain, and Saudi Arabia just before he left United to establish relationships and let them know what players are for sale. I think United are doing that because offloading players is the clear priority at Manchester United, because let's be honest, the more players we offload, the amount of money we make through sales determines how much we can spend, and we're going to need 7-8 new signings. Now, one of those signings we might need is Todibo, and it said that we go for him over Branthwaite because it's cheaper. It said that Todibo and Everton's Branthwaite are high on the list of targets that Ineos want. They're the first 2 centre-back targets from what I'm aware of, and the OG Nice centre-back is the preferred choice for United's new owners, who could feel a deal be struck up in the coming months, and Todibo said to be available for 40 million, which Man United view as better economically than Branthwaite. But interestingly, it's reported that other suitors for Todibo are backing away from the player, leaving a path clear for United to swoop. Barcelona and Tottenham Hotspur, 2 teams that registered an interest in the centre-half, but they're now turning their attentions elsewhere. United in a very strong position. Now, I remember Tottenham almost signed Todibo in January, and then they had to sort of leave that because they weren't going to sell Todibo in January, even though it was open to a move. Nice wouldn't. It's basically Tottenham off, putting Barcelona off because they know Jim Ratcliffe knows that we're going to make a move in the summer for Todibo. Are we basically Todibo in our hands? Is that what's happening? Because he will probably leave Nice. He's been great value for money. He's available at a great price. Lots of clubs have come sniffing, and Todibo, who was open to leaving, then just became not open to leaving. I think that could be to do with Jim Ratcliffe saying, just wait it out and we're going to get you that move to Manchester United. Continuing on, another player we're reportedly looking at is Dewsbury Hall. And while I like Dewsbury Hall, I wouldn't be signing him. And I think Aaron Moniz sounds this up perfectly. He said it would be the most crazy earring United thing to need defensive midfielders, pacey wingers, and a box presence, and instead end up signing a talented 8/10 striker that ultimately do not have the tactical circumstances to thrive in the side. We don't need to be buying 8th and second strikers, because if we don't sort out the 6 and we don't sort out the technical ability and tactical ability of the club, then that new signing is not going to thrive as well. We need to be signing strikers, we need to be signing wingers, we need to be signing centre-backs, we need to be signing proper DMs. We don't need to be signing Kieran Dewsbury Hall. If we do sign like 4 or 5 players and we've already signed a DM, yeah, I'm not going to turn down Dewsbury Hall as another option. But the first and priority midfielder we get needs to be someone that can play as a 6, do a lot of off-the-ball work and complement Maino really well. Now, I want to finish off by getting into some of Bastian Schweinsteiger's comments in his interview on the overlap. He said at Man United, the people were amazing, the stadium, walking on the pitch, nothing better. But then he said the facilities, actually not as modern as I expected. And how many ex-Man United players have come out and said, yeah, no, the facilities aren't great. And we wonder why we showed Bellingham the facilities of United, then he saw the facilities of Dortmund. We wonder why he chose Dortmund. That was obviously due to other factors, but we tried to sell Bellingham to come to United and show him the facilities that apparently are really out of date. Now, interestingly, Bastian Schweinsteiger sort of spoke about his time under Mourinho and sort of the end of his Manchester United journey. And he said he was training alone for at least 3 months. I don't know why, but I was super happy at United. I loved to wear the shirt. And look, Schweinsteiger wasn't good enough. He wasn't great. And we needed to get rid of him. But he was a top professional. And I think he was very much badly treated by Jose Mourinho. He was out for too long and overlooked for too long. He said, on being made to train with the kids, he was sad because I really consider Man United a second club in my heart. And I gave a lot when I played. Is what he said. He didn't like training with the kids. And he said on Mourinho, when he came back for his Thursday to Carrington, John Murta was there, not even Mourinho. John Murta was there and said, "You're not allowed to walk into the dressing room." And he said, "Why?" And he said, "You got to train with the academy," and he got no warning, which I think is an absolute joke. He said that someone could have told me or explained to me this. He went to the youth dressing room and asked who was training with, and they said the under-16s. And Bastian Schweinsteiger basically trained with the under-16s for a good 3 months. So I think that was poor treatment from Mourinho, even though Schweinsteiger probably needed to be sold. That was very poor treatment from Mourinho. But it's interesting to see how some players are treated compared to others. You know, Donny van der Beek, Bastian Schweinsteiger comes in one day and, "Oh, no, sorry, you've got to train with the under-18s or the under-16s even," and kick you out the dressing room. That's absolutely mad.